Well, tell me something interesting about you.
Coming up in a few days is the 16th anniversary of my dance with death. I got the sore end of a light rail pedestrian accident 16 years ago. I woke up in intensive care.
I mean, you almost died, right?
And I had brain swelling, so they had to drill a hole in my head to relieve the pressure. And apparently what they told my parents was, he may not make it through the night, and if he does, he'll probably be brain damaged. Actually, in law school at the time, I was in my last semester of law school, and so it was end of March. School usually ends at the beginning of May. So I was in the hospital for 25 days. I had to study for finals while I was in the hospital. And so I took finals in a wheelchair because I still was non-weight bearing. I just passed on my first try, so it was an interesting few months. I'm a partner now.
This podcast is sponsored by Estrada Real Estate Group. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing in real estate, we can help you. Text us at 303-832-2120. Now back to the Estradanary Conversation. Good to go. All right, we got Steve.
What's up, man?
Man, I can't believe you're on this podcast.
My debut.
It is.
In the podcast space. Maybe I'll be on Rogan next week.
Oh, not that big. Not that big. Yeah.
What are your viewership numbers now?
Oh,
Like keep track of those?
like 9.
9?
Yeah.
Like your family and that's it?
That's it, man.
You got to start somewhere, man.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we just got to, I just want to, it's everyday people doing, ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
That's a good slogan.
Yeah.
You should stick with that.
I think I will.
And
Yeah.
I like the title too. It works your name.
Love it.
Portmanteau action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, tell me something interesting about you.
Tell me something interesting. A lot of interesting things. But as we were talking before we went on air, coming up in a few days is the 16th anniversary of my dance with death. I got the sore end of a light rail pedestrian accident 16 years ago.
Has it been that long?
March 29th, 2009. So yeah, it's been 16 years.
What do you remember from that day?
Well, I remember pretty much everything leading up to it. I don't remember the actual impact or how I got to be in front of the thing. I knew that I was trying to find a place that was it was just off the light rail track. So if you started from the 10th and Osage station and walked in a certain direction, I knew that this house I was going to was right off tracks, and never made it to the house. But the next thing I knew, I woke up in intensive care, and I didn't know where I was or what had happened to me, and I have really bad vision, so my contacts were out and I couldn't see. And I thought I was in some medieval torture chamber type place. And I couldn't talk because I had a tube in my throat. And
What's the last thing you remember?
The last thing I remember was getting out of the cab at the light rail station and then starting to walk. Because I was with our mutual friend, JD, who was on the pod a few weeks ago.
He was?
And so we were responsible. We didn't drive anywhere, and because we had a little bit of alcohol to drink. That might have been a contributing factor, but the jury's out on that. We don't have a full causation opinion. But yeah, the last thing I remember was the cab ride down there and getting out, and then starting to walk, and I don't remember anything after that.
So, what were you told happened after that?
I was told that I got into an accident with the light rail. I'm still unclear as to how exactly it happened. No one really had any eyewitness kind of testimony about what happened. Well, there wasn't any testimony. I didn't go to trial or anything, but no one had kind of an eyewitness view And I didn't hear any statements, but I just heard like was possibly going 35 miles an hour, something like that. And then I got thrown for a little bit and skid along the gravel. It broke a bunch of bones, so that was bad.
Oh man! So you kind of wake up in this hospital?
Yeah, I was in Denver Health. They have the level 1 trauma center. I think it might have been the only one in the state or one of a few in the state at the time. And luckily I was very close to it. Also very luckily there were paramedics kind of on their break about 90 seconds away from where I got nailed. So they managed to get there very quickly, which is good because I couldn't breathe because it just crushed kind of my ribs and my lungs were being compressed.
So did it hit you right in front or is it right in the side?
I think it hit me in the front. Missed my head. I think it might have hit me like kind of on the shoulder because I broke my right scapula, but I didn't break my collarbone. So I don't really know mechanically how it happened, but
it hurt.
It hurt. It hurt when I woke up. So
what does it
recommend
feel like? I mean, for those that haven't been hit by a light rail.
I mean, I can't tell you how it felt like to get hit afterward. I was on a lot of drugs, so I didn't feel a whole lot, but it just felt like, I mean, your entire body is just really sore, and then if you move any type of way, it's like screaming pain. So it's not good. It's my head really hurt because I fractured some small bones in the back of my skull. So,
dang.
Yeah, it was not good.
Okay. So what was recovery like?
Well, recovery was interesting because I was actually in law school at the time. I was in my last semester of law school. And so it was end of March. School usually ends at the beginning of May. So I was in the hospital for 25 days. I had to study for finals while I was in the hospital. And luckily, some of my friends, this was before the age of, Zoom and Teams or FaceTime or whatever. So luckily, I went to DU Law School here in town, and they were ahead of their time a little bit. They had cameras in each classroom. And they could record the lectures, and so my friends would bring me the little DVDs. Back in the day when we had DVDs, the kids probably don't know what those are, but
They don't know how to spell DVDs.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know if that's your demographic on this pod, though. But anyway, they bring them to me, and I had my laptop, and I could watch the lectures in my hospital bed.
That's pretty impressive, man.
Yeah, and then I got released before finals, and so I took finals in a wheelchair because I still was non-weight bearing, and then I took bar prep classes in a wheelchair also. And luckily, I was weight bearing by the time I could take the bar, and so I could walk, unassisted. So that was a big thing. It would have been weird to take the bar in a wheelchair, have a walker.
Yeah.
But I managed to pass on my first try. So it was an interesting few months there. But
dude, what did you learn from that? Like, did you test your limits?
You would think, but it kind of it was kind of beneficial in a way because there was nothing else for me to do in the hospital. And, daytime TV sucks. So you can only watch Step Brothers so many times, before you get bored. And so, I was studying for the bar too in the hospital. And then I had to, I couldn't really take care of myself. So I moved in with my parents for a while. And then, they took care of me, thankfully. But all I had to do really was study for the bar and not a lot of distractions. But yeah, I mean, it was difficult to do, but I think the motivation of not wanting to go back to law school for another semester was pretty effective in getting me going, because I was like, man, this was a very hard experience and I'm not going to go back and do it again. I'm not here for any extra time. So
wow,
I'm getting out.
Dude, that's super impressive. I mean, that's in the hospital after a major accident. I mean, you almost died, right?
Yeah, the head injury was what they were concerned about, and I had brain swelling, so they had to like drill a hole in my head to relieve the pressure. And apparently, what they told my parents was, he may not make it through the night, and if he does, he'll probably be brain damaged. And I don't know if that's true. I don't know if they could tell, to be honest with you, but. Yeah, it was touch and go there, but, pretty quickly they figured out that I had miraculously been saved, kind of permanent problems. So.
Are you the only child?
No, my sister, I have a younger sister. She's 4 years younger. So my nephew had just been born about 6 months prior to that. He was born on my birthday, my 30th birthday, actually. And so I had a picture of him next to me in the hospital bed, and that was good motivation to not die.
Yeah.
So
what did your parents, were they freaked out?
They were freaked out at the beginning, but I think just being thankful kind of took over.
Yeah.
And they were probably mad at me at the beginning for putting them through this, but that kind of washed away pretty soon after. But I was very lucky that they were in a position to take care of me again, like I was a little baby. You know? So I made them do it twice. I don't think they'll forgive me for that. Actually,
I think you owe them. Yeah.
Yeah, I owe them. So
you get in this accident. It takes how long to recover? 6 months, a year?
Yeah, I mean, I did, physical therapy and rehab for about 6 months. And you never really fully recover. I mean, my shoulder is still messed up, and I broke my pelvis. So I have titanium rods in my pelvis still. And so my hips hurt sometimes, but, about 6 months to get back to where you're kind of feeling okay.
Were you in a body cast, or?
No, they, I don't even know if they do those anymore. I know they used to back in like 80s comedy movies. They had people on body casts, but what they did was because you're out when you come in. I mean, they rush you in because you're severely injured, but you can't tell them what's wrong with you. So they did like a whole body scan, and then they can figure out what's going on. And so kind of the main areas were my head injury. They had to stabilize the pelvis, so they drill what's called an external fixator into the outside of your hips, and that holds your pelvis together before they can actually go in and do surgery, because you're all swollen up and injured. And then my carotid artery had been dissected, so like part of the inner wall collapsed, and so that is a big risk of stroke, because it'll cut off blood to your brain. And so they have to give you a bunch of blood thinners. So they do the triage like that and try to get you in fighting shape at least, so you can try to survive, so.
Dang.
Yeah.
So you get through this major accident, and you're a lawyer now, right? I mean,
I'm a lawyer, yeah. Passed the bar, and I clerked for a judge in Boulder for a year. I had that set up before I got in the accident, so I was communicating with the judge, like, hey, here's what happened, but I'm still ready to start. She was like, you're an idiot. And she actually turned me on to this book. It's called The Knife and Gun Club, and it was Denver General was the hospital name back in like the 70s. And that was when they really had the only kind of real level 1 trauma center. And so they nicknamed it the Knife and Gun Club, because all the violent injuries that they saw come through there. It's like a photojournalistic book. So
okay.
I went out and got that. It was pretty interesting. And then Yeah, I clerked for a year and then got a job, and I'm still at the same firm that I got hired with back in 2010, I guess. So
Nice. So I was checking you out online, and I see that you're a partner.
I'm a partner now. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How long has that been?
I think I've been a partner now for like 3 or 4 years.
Okay. What does that mean? Because I know it's a pretty good thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, you just you work harder, and people don't respect you as much, basically. No, when you're
it's a dream job.
Yeah,
then.
it's a dream job. Yeah. No, when you're a partner, I'm actually an equity partner now, so I have some ownership interest in the firm.
Congratulations again.
Thank you. And you just have more responsibility. You kind of run your own cases. You have to boss associates around, which is fun. You can haze them a little bit. And,
How are you as a boss? As a boss, like
I think I'm pretty good. I try to be understanding. The office environment nowadays is different than probably you and I grew up with. The incoming generations their expectations are a little different. You can't yell at anyone anymore. Because, when we grew up, coaches yelled at us, and some teachers yelled at us. And my dad was a teacher back in the day. I think he threw a textbook at somebody's head. You can't do that anymore. It's a kind of world, and you got to kind of be an empath with people, and the expectations out of work are different. Money is not the end all be all anymore. You got to go work-life balance, which is difficult in the law because there's a lot to do, and there's not enough people to do it, and not enough time to do it. So it's been interesting navigating that world with the new generation coming in, especially. But it's an evolution. It's a continuing process. So I hope to be learning.
They don't teach you this in law school.
They don't teach any of that in law school. That's one of the big criticisms of law school is they teach you kind of antiquated old theory, cases from the 1800s, but they don't teach you how to balance your budget or pay your taxes or manage people, who you need to hire, who you don't need to hire. So the academic institutions are trying to remedy that. But they're slow to respond, kind of the market needs. It's all on the job training.
And that's where you learn it. Is just do you model other firms, or how does that work?
No, it's kind of. I've only worked at one firm. The people that started our firm, the guys, they came from other firms, and primarily they wanted to go in a different direction than the firms they thought or they worked at prior. So, I guess. They tried to get, everyone more involved in the decision making. But yeah, mostly it's just learning on the fly.
Do you enjoy the people you work with?
Yeah, I really like everybody I work with. That's kind of the main draw of where I work and why I've stayed there for 14 years is that I really enjoy the people that I work with.
Do they enjoy you?
Well, you'd have to ask them. That can be. You can have them as your next guest. And I can eat crow.
As a committee. Yeah.
Yeah. Just I don't know if this table is big enough for all the people that have grievances with me. But
so what is your typical day? What do you do?
Well, what I do, I'm a civil litigator, and so we do a lot of paperwork, computer work. The courts here in Colorado. The judges, they don't want to see us really. So a lot of our work is on paper. We go to court, here and there, and you're out and about doing depositions and hearings and site visits and all kinds of things. But a lot of the day is slaving away behind the computer and making it happen. So,
is that your strength, or you have to work on that?
No, that's kind of the only thing I can do. I have no real practical skills other than that. I can't make anything. I can't repair anything. So I had to go the computer route, and I'm not that real good with computers either, so it's more of typing words on paper that I'm good at. So I went that route to try to maximize my potential.
Well, I think you're probably being a little humble, but I mean, do you feel like you're good at what you do?
I think I'm pretty good at what I do. I've had good results. The actual doing the legal part and then being, running the business are two different things, obviously. And, the client relation part, running the business part were all things that kind of I'm not as naturally good at. And so that's been a process trying to learn. It's been enjoyable, but it hasn't come as quickly to me as, say, reading a case and arguing about the case or writing about the case. Those are things that I kind of took to fairly naturally. And then, it's like, what happens when a client's freaking out? I'm like, I don't know, tell them to chill out. That's not really the answer. That's the wrong answer most of the time. Right. As you know, in your profession, you can't, the client service is everything ultimately. So, learning about that has been challenging.
What's been your favorite case or most interesting case?
We've had quite a few interesting ones. The stupidest case that I've had, which was comical, it was one of the first ones I worked on. It was down in the Springs, and it was this young couple, and the girlfriend was, I think she was 21, and the boyfriend was 19. And they were going to this party, and so they went to the liquor store ahead of time, and she, being of age, went and bought a handle of Captain Morgan's.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like her already.
Good start.
Yeah.
So they went to this party, and between the two of them, they killed the whole handle, which is, a lot. These weren't like big people either. They were pretty skinny. And, eyewitnesses at the party said they both puked during the course of the party, and like they had vomit on themselves, and then they decided to leave. And so their kind of common practice was when they'd been drinking, he would drive her car because he was the better inebriated driver, I guess. And so it was her car. She gives him the keys. He runs into like a Home Depot sign, a big concrete Home Depot sign on the side of the road. And he got hurt. He broke his pelvis, and then she did not get hurt. So he sues her for what's called negligent entrustment, basically saying, you knew I was drunk, but you gave me the keys to your car anyway, and that's why I got hurt.
Okay.
And there's no way this guy would have won at trial, but her insurance company, who we were working for, decided to just pay him this nominal sum of money so he would go away because it would cost more to try the case. So that was my introduction to the world of civil litigation. That was absurd. And then I had another one. I work in Wyoming too, and there was a.
Oh, you have. Well, can you do cases in Wyoming?
Yeah, I'm licensed in Wyoming.
Oh, okay.
Too. So
okay.
I had a case in Wyoming where a new restaurant opened, and they had this big Thanksgiving rush, and unfortunately, a bunch of people got food poisoning, and it wasn't bad food poisoning, like no one died, but it was like your normal, after effects of food poisoning. And so they got this kind of hotshot food safety firm involved, and one of their things was they had everyone affected write their own impact statement, like how did this impact you? And so
that's so what these are called, huh?
Yeah, I got to read about 50 statements about how people had pooped their pants, walking down the street after this, or I was driving my car and I hit a bump in the road and I just pooped all over myself. And so that was entertaining. And you see all kinds of stuff like that. People sue over crazy stuff. It's been.
Well, you had the case. I don't know if you can tell about the one accident up on Was it the amusement park or something like that?
Yeah, the case is still going on.
So you can't.
Well,
Yeah.
I can tell you what it's about. I mean, I'm involved in, unfortunately, this 6-year-old girl died on an amusement park ride in Glenwood.
I've been to that park.
Yeah.
Have you?
I have not been there.
No.
I didn't go out there. But yeah, that's still going on, and that was a really unfortunate situation. Anytime you have a wrongful death case, it's hard, and then when kids are involved, it's just terrible. That you don't want to see that, but it's an unfortunate part of kind of what we do. So
Yeah. Whenever kids die, it just sucks.
yeah, it's not good.
So what are you working on? What's next for you?
Well, we're trying to grow our firm, and it's kind of difficult right now because, at the beginning of the 2000s, there was a just steady climb in law school applicants, and then it kind of peaked in 2010, and there was a lot of backlash against law schools because they were kind of fudging a little bit on employment statistics coming out of the schools and salaries and all that. So that got out into the media and kind of filtered its way into students, and they kind of stopped applying to law schools, and it's been going down steadily. So the supply is down, and so we're for our industry, we're probably mid-size for where we are. In Denver, we've got about 15 or 16 attorneys. But overall, in terms of the law firm world, we're pretty small. And so there's a lot of competition for the limited supply out there. So right now, our aim is just to get bodies in chairs to do the work. And that's kind of job one on the triage chart. So that's what we're doing. If anyone watching needs a job as a lawyer, you can call me up. Let me know. You can go through Ruben, the website. You can plug that. I don't know.
So how do you attract talent? I mean, what kind of sets you apart? I mean, other than pay, I guess. What?
I mean, there's pay. We try to market ourselves kind of as the most life balance that you're going to get essentially out of a litigation firm. We don't have crazy billable hour requirements. We'll let you work from home, a few days a week. We have our own parking lot, so.
I've been there. It's a nice parking lot.
It's great.
For downtown Denver.
For downtown,
geez.
it's good space.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we like I've been talking about, we do a whole lot of different cases.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we try to package ourselves as an attractive place to land. But if you're interested in making the big payday, we're probably not going to be it. And if you're interested in the greater good, helping people that can't help themselves, we're probably not that either, because we work for insurance companies mainly. So there's that sweet spot there where if you want to try cases in different areas, we're probably the place for you to be. But yeah, it's tough. It's a tough environment out there.
So is your office like Suits? This show Suits?
Ever since that show's popularity has completely resurged after it was on Netflix, everyone asked me that.
Yeah.
Our law firm is like the complete opposite of Suits. I mean, no one dresses
No
up
excitement. No one dresses up.
Yeah, no one dresses up. No one's good looking. We don't have trials the next day after the case comes in. But yeah, it was funny because I was deposing this guy. He's like, "Is your life like Suits?" I was like, "No, it's really not. I wish it were, but it's not." I'm only in season 2, so.
Oh, okay. Do you like it?
Yeah, it's entertaining. I mean, it's completely unrealistic, but
really, that's a bummer because I was really thinking that's how it was, but.
Well,
maybe it isn't in Manhattan.
Well, maybe, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure no one takes the case to trial the day after they get it. Other than that, maybe, they dress up nicer in Manhattan than we do here.
Did you ever is that what you pictured an attorney to be like, or were you when you actually started doing the work, you're like, oh, this is much better?
Yeah, I never wanted to go to a big skyscraper office and work, eat dinner, takeout every night in the office. And so I actively tried to stay away from environments like that. And there's firms in Denver where, you work in the skyscraper, and some people still wear suits every day. But, I didn't want that kind of life. So, our office is casual. People wear, fleeces and jeans and whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Pretty low key then.
Yeah, super low key.
Okay. We're gonna have to open up the window. It's getting warm in here.
It's getting a little stuffy.
Jeez, it's like,
is this intentional?
Yeah, it might be. Just kind of make you squirm.
Your interrogation techniques will not work on me, Ruben. I'm a professional.
So, are you from here? Because I don't know a lot about your background.
Yeah, no, I am from here. I was born and raised.
Okay.
I was born at Rose Medical Center in Denver.
Okay.
And my family and I lived in Lakewood up until I was about 7 years old, and then we moved to Littleton. And
Is that an upgrade?
It was, well, the house was an upgrade.
Okay.
At the time, I was in first grade, and I didn't really so much like leaving my friends behind.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, before email and smartphones and everything. So moving 20 minutes away, you might as well have moved, across the country. But yeah, Littleton was a good place to grow up. And I grew up in that house. Middle school, high school, went to college, came back. My parents just moved out of there a couple years ago to get a smaller place. But yeah, that was a big part of my life growing up in Littleton. So I went to college in Memphis with JD.
Did you know James before that?
I knew of him. We both went down there to play soccer, and
okay.
He played on a Boulder team, and I played on a metro area team, and so we knew each other from playing each other, but not really that well. And then we were roommates freshman year and became friends. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Are you still a soccer fan?
Yeah, I follow it pretty closely. The U.S. U.S. men's team is not looking great. The women's team is always good. But I haven't been following the Rapids as much as usual, but follow some European teams. So
Is that usually like when I talk to soccer guys, it's more European. Like the U.S. soccer's not. The MLS is like there's not like it's real soccer.
Yeah, the quality is a lot different over in Europe. I mean, MLS is on the upswing, and they've been around since I think '96. So they've gotten a lot better. The product's a lot better. It's still not on par with Europe, but we're growing the game. I don't think anytime soon it's going to crack the top 2-3 sports in the country. NFL obviously has a stranglehold on that, but baseball is kind of waning a little bit. Unfortunately, that's the American pastime. So I think soccer will be around to stay, at least. It's a fairly popular sport, but I don't know if it'll ever ascend to the top.
Is this what you do for fun? You just keep track of soccer, or you like to do other things?
Watching sports, watching movies and sports, pretty much my thing. I don't like a lot of high impact hobbies. I probably should get more of those. Help the waistline a little bit. But,
I know we just interviewed somebody that was a bodybuilder.
Oh
yeah, and it's like
I don't know if I could do that.
Oh man, no, it's insane the diet they have to go through and the workouts. It's like
the diet's crazy.
That's stupid.
Yeah, no,
I hate diets.
I'm not into that. Yeah, diets are bad.
Ugh.
Yeah. I wish you could get like normal food though, just on the regular now. I mean, everything's just terrible for you. I don't know. It seems like, I don't know. Maybe I'm shopping in the wrong place.
So soccer and watching movies. What's your favorite movie?
Oh gosh.
Do you like comedy?
I do like comedy.
Yeah.
I think. Let's see.
Because being I consider you a funny person.
Yeah, I try to be.
Do you find most comedies not funny or funny?
No, I laugh
Yeah?
at pretty much
You do?
anything. I mean, I'm in the extreme minority here, but I really like the movie Chips. My wife thinks I'm a complete idiot, but the TV show in the '70s, Chips, with Ponch and John.
Yeah.
Well,
I get called Ponch all the time because of Estrada, you know?
Yeah. Right, yeah. You should rename yourself Eric.
Yeah.
But yeah, they made it like a modern update movie with Dax Shepard and Michael Pena. I don't know if you ever saw this. I think it's hilarious.
No, because I heard it's a horrible movie.
Yeah, well, that was the rub on it, but I watched it anyway. I thought it was awesome. So I watch it whenever it's on. My wife thinks I'm a complete moron, which is probably true to a certain extent. I've probably seen the movie I've seen the most is probably Top Gun, the original.
Okay. Yeah. Did you like the second one?
I did really like the second one.
That's like top 3.
Yeah,
I was really impressed, and
it was great.
I walked out of the theater and I was like, that was better than the first. That's like the rare occasion when the sequel is better than the original.
Yeah, I heard this fan theory that, like, spoiler if you haven't watched Top Gun 2.
I mean, if
audience.
you haven't yet, then shame on you.
Yeah, then you can deal with it.
Yeah.
But he's doing the test pilot thing, and he blows up, and he has to eject, and then he walks into that restaurant. So the fan theory is everything after that is he's dead, but it's like a dream or purgatory or whatever, because everything just happens perfectly for him. And Jennifer Connelly, a person like that would never be, a single bartender.
Gotcha.
But, it happens upon him, and he reunites with Iceman and kind of settles that. So this was his, like, in between Earth and heaven or whatever. It was him, like, tying up all of his loose ends.
Wow.
Which I think, that's one way to interpret it.
That's an interesting concept. I never thought about that.
You should rewatch it with that in mind.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting.
I'll have to think about that.
I did fire up Days of Thunder the other night as well.
Another Tom Cruise movie.
Another cruise movie.
Yeah.
One of the podcasts I listen to regularly, aside from yours, is...
Thank you. You're the only one.
It's called The Rewatchables. I don't know if you've heard this.
Rewatchables.
Do you know who Bill Simmons is?
No.
He's like he was on ESPN for a long time.
Okay.
Like, he was a big online personality, and now he has this, he has his own kind of media company called The Ringer, and Spotify bought The Ringer for like hundreds of millions of dollars. But he's got this podcast where he just talks about movies he loves to rewatch over and over again. And so I listen to that. Then when they talk about a movie, I'll go watch it again.
So did they mention Days of Thunder?
Yeah, Days of Thunder was last week's episode. This week's episode was Blue Chips. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Like that movie with Shaq.
Jack.
And Penny and
Yes.
Nick Nolte. So I got to watch that one now,
Is he
too.
still alive?
I don't know. He was struggling there for a while.
He always looks like he was like half dead, Like this
there was
alcoholic that just
Yeah, there was a
hanging
mug
on.
shot with him, and he had a Hawaiian shirt on, and his hair was just crazy. I mean, it was bad. Hopefully he dried himself out, but
Are you a Tom Cruise fan?
I do like Tom Cruise. He's weird, obviously, but and that's just my opinion. That's not defamatory statement. Tom Cruise, don't sue me.
Here we go.
Church of Scientology, don't sue me. But yeah, he's an interesting guy, obviously. But yeah, I like his younger stuff. I watch all the Mission Impossibles too.
I love Mission Impossible.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
And I think
But that's it. Or maybe Born on the 4th of July, but
Rain Man was good. Did you like Rain Man?
I don't know if he was that good. Dustin Hoffman was good. But he's never won an Academy Award.
No.
Do you disagree with that?
I think he probably got robbed a few times.
Yeah.
Like, he was really good in Magnolia.
Oh, I haven't seen Magnolia. Okay.
Yeah, he was really good.
Is that a weird movie?
It's very weird.
Yeah.
Paul Thomas Anderson movie.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's got some weird parts, but it's good. It started raining frogs at some point.
Okay. I think I'm going to stay away from that one.
Well, you got to be in the mood for it.
Yeah. So. I think when I run out of all the movies I'm going to watch,
yeah,
then
maybe circle back to that one. Yeah.
Well, who is your favorite actor? or actress, I should say.
My favorite actor. I really liked Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, yes.
I'll watch pretty much anything that he's in. Unfortunately, he died young.
Yep.
Do love some Daniel Day-Lewis.
Okay.
That's kind of a unoriginal answer, but he's pretty entertaining in everything that he does.
Do you agree with your wife on favorite? I guess not movies, because you're like.
No, we're very opposite on movies, music. Like she loves.
Do you have anything in common
That's a good question.
besides living in the same house?
Yeah, we live in the same house, same state. No, we let each other do their own thing, and then we come together when it's time to come together. Like we both like traveling, both like going out being with friends. She likes her alone time, but she likes going out and being with family and friends too.
Is she from here?
She's from Maryland.
Oh, Maryland. Okay. Yeah.
So, and I've gotten her to go to some Broncos games over the years. We went to a DU hockey game. I drug her to the other day. DU soccer game. So
She doesn't like sports naturally?
well, she was not really drawn to team sports. She thought they were kind of pointless. But
That's an interesting opinion.
yeah, I think I've imparted on her the error of her ways, and so I think she's still a little bit amazed that as many people show up to Broncos games as they do. Because it's kind of overwhelming going in the stadium. And
As what? How many fans? 50,000?
no, capacity is like 76.
Is it
something.
70? Wow. Okay.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So, so she's coming around on that, and she likes kind of weird hippy dippy electronic music that I've come around to on that.
Like club music or?
Well, it's called like down tempo, chill wave. Some of these adjectives I've never really heard of.
So it's like modern day jazz or what?
Well, no, it's electronic music, but
Okay.
it's not the like house, right. It's not that kind of music. It's more.
Dude, you're talented, dude. That's sweet. I was like, I don't dance, but I was just gonna bust a move.
I'd love to see it.
No.
Yeah, producer Nathaniel says no on that.
Is your sound okay? Is it?
Yeah, I can. It's kind of hard to hear you through the earphones. I can hear myself better through the earphones.
Yeah. Do you want to take them off?
Yeah, you can take them off.
Yeah, we can take them off.
Yeah.
It's kind of sweating.
Oh, that's better.
too.
Yeah.
okay.
It's just hot in here. It's
Yeah.
like deep. So, if you weren't doing law, what would you be doing?
I mean, kind of the dream job. Like I mentioned, Bill Simmons before. I mean, kind of the dream job would have been, just like writing about. I've always liked writing, so writing about sports and pop culture. But he's probably one of a million guys that would love to do that, and he was kind of the one guy that made it.
Yeah.
So I don't.
But everybody has, everybody has their own podcast. I mean,
Well, right,
geez,
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
but what makes it unique is the person.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I mean,
So maybe I'd get into it as a hobby, but that's obviously a very hard market to break into. As is podcasting. I mean, you're right. Everybody does have their own podcast nowadays.
well, that's what's been interesting is that I've been getting a lot of yeses,
Yeah.
which is interesting. Yeah, I thought more people would turn me down.
Yeah. Well, I think the proliferation of the podcast. Everyone would be like, "Oh, that'd be fun to go on." You see. The big ones, Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn's got a funny podcast. I don't know if you know who he is. Nathaniel knows Theo Vaughn.
Why do I not know?
Oh, you know?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
No. I'll check it out.
No, he's good. He's a comedian.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
funny.
okay.
But yeah, you're always like, well, I could do that. I think I'd be pretty good on a podcast. And then, it's relatable. It's not, you don't have to have a full TV show, interview show. You don't have to go through a network. It's more, it's kind of like the internet itself and Twitter after that. It's everyone's given a platform and communication's gone, way up. So it's a good thing. It's very man of the people type of thing.
Well, then you'd have to be careful because, I feel like you have to live by this life of disclaimers. Mm-hmm. Like, Like you just did a little bit ago. You're
Right.
Like, oh, no,
Yeah, don't sue me.
Yeah, don't sue me. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you live like that? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I wouldn't ever want to be really famous. I think it would be a drag. I say that now, but if I was like Michael Jordan, but he can go out famously to buy groceries. I don't know if I would like that. I mean, I'd be Michael Jordan, obviously the man, but I wouldn't like to not be able to go outside my house.
yes. Yeah. Were you a fan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're the same age, so we grew
Yeah.
up right during the prime of the Bulls, and so everyone became a Bulls fan.
I was a Bulls fan until the Nuggets played the Bulls, and then I was a Nuggets fan.
Yeah, I had to root for the hometown.
And they occasionally came out on top,
Yeah, I think during one of the great Bulls seasons, the Nuggets even beat the
Yeah.
Bulls here.
Right.
Jordan had a terrible game, which for him was like 15 points. But
Yeah.
yeah, 'cause some of those Nuggets teams in the 90s were just wretched.
There's awful, like Doug Moe
Yeah.
and who's...
Well, the end of the Doug Moe era, they were terrible, and then like Paul Westhead was the coach for a while.
yes. Yeah.
And but then like Dikembe came.
Oh,
so
yeah. The whole Dikembe, LaFonso Ellis,
Yeah, yeah.
and then they beat the Supersonics.
Yeah. It was like the 8-1 upset.
Yeah.
Dikembe's on the ground. Like,
Yeah.
rest in peace, Dikembe.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Taken too soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd always liked the Nuggets, but I mean they were so bad, especially in the 90s. I mean they got better during the 90s, but it was amazing they won the championship a few years ago. But yeah, I mean every kid loved Michael Jordan, wanted to be Michael Jordan. We all took fadeaways and double pumps, and the coaches yelled at us. I mean, they're like,
They're like, stop.
yeah,
Yeah,
and you're
you're
like,
not.
Jordan does
Yeah.
it. And they're like, you're not.
They're like,
you're not
then
Jordan.
Go dunk.
Yeah.
Then go dunk it. And you're like, oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, like,
sorry,
all right,
coach.
Fair enough. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, you rough basketball. You must see a lot of big change in the game.
Well, there's no post play.
Yeah, it's all threes, right?
It's all 3-pointers. Everybody wants to shoot the three. Yeah. Everybody wants to be Steph Curry.
Right.
Everybody. I mean, they play so soft. It's all about this year. There was an emphasis on faking being fouled.
Yeah, unfortunately, soccer has infiltrated basketball.
Totally. Yeah. So you got the head bobs and you got the charges and people falling back and acting like they got shot. And they haven't even been touched yet.
Well, LeBron was a big influence on that too.
Are you a LeBron fan?
I don't know. I mean, what he's done is incredible to play, 20 years at such a high level. And the fact, as a man, he hasn't gotten in trouble. He's been famous since he was, 14 years old. He's stayed with his, his high school sweetheart and never, gotten into trouble with the law or anything. But
There are the Diddy rumors.
Yeah. Those are coming out now a little bit. Don't sue us, LeBron. But I have to respect what he's done, but some of the stuff he says is so dumb, and then he's soft kind of too, and
they had that whole thing.
He's on the Lakers, so I can't like him.
No, true.
He's on the Lakers.
Yeah.
So
Never been a Lakers fan.
no, I can never.
Not even the mad respect of the '80s.
Well, they were great in the '80s, and then when they played Jordan in the finals, I had to go with Jordan because Magic was he was even getting old. At that point.
Did you like the Van Exel era? Remember that?
Yeah, I liked Nick the Quick. He was good.
Yeah.
I liked him on the Nuggets. I liked him. He was a lefty and crafty. I liked him.
Okay. Are you lefty?
No. I wanted to be left-handed just to be unique. But I never was. My sister was. But.
They're all the talents on that side. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I say lefties are more creative and smarter, and I don't think they live as long though. So maybe it's a trade-off.
No stats to back that up at all. It's just
I heard that somewhere.
You heard it?
Yeah, I don't.
You
I'm
live
not a
by
doctor.
anecdotes. Yeah. I'm not a doctor.
Don't take my medical advice.
Oh my gosh! Do they train you how to to be
it's
this
just,
way?
It becomes natural.
Really?
You think of all the ways you can get sued, and then
Because you've seen it.
because you can get sued for everything. So you're always cautious.
But does that even prevent it? Like, don't sue me.
No.
So that means
It's like when you're driving behind a truck and it says not responsible for broken windshield, because it's full of rocks. It's like, well, you can't just disclaim yourself from the law. Like, I'm not responsible if I kill you. Well, the sign was up, so I can't be guilty of murder.
That's my defense.
Right,
It's
there was a sign. I mean, it helps a little bit in some circumstances, but yeah, you just do what you can. I mean, we're a sue-happy, country, very litigious.
How is Colorado compared to other states?
I've heard that Colorado is fairly moderate and conservative with the verdicts. Like California, I think is out of control. Like you get huge verdicts, and they've always kind of been at the cutting edge of personal injury law and the crazy kind of law that comes out of there. I think Texas is kind of bad, which is a little surprising because they're mostly conservative. But
Wow,
Colorado's pretty center. I think, like I said, I practiced in Wyoming too. They're very conservative. One of my partners is like, yeah, we were in a personal injury case, and somebody broke their leg or something, and then we went to trial, and half the jury was missing fingers or limbs because of like ranching accidents, and so they're not going to be very sympathetic to it. Oh, I broke my leg, I can't do anything. So
they're like. I can just see all that. What's going through their mind?
Right, they're like, you sissy boy. So yeah, I don't know.
Have you ever had a case where like deeply affected you, where you're like, I'm not sleeping at night because I'm for whatever reason attached to this, or it hit you different?
Yeah, I've tried not to be emotionally attached to the cases, and a lot of the time you feel for it because I'm a defense lawyer, so we work on the other side of people who sometimes get badly injured or killed. And so, like I said, anytime kids are involved, it's really hard. Like we worked on a case where a mom and her kids were ejected off a ski lift, and the mom died, and the two kids were injured, but they saw her die on the side of the mountain. So that was really sad. A lot of emotions going on in that case, and that was bad. And then the one I have now with the little girl that died. Those are always tough, and you try to be as gentle as possible when you're with those, because you obviously have a completely shattered family, which is never a good thing. And then just everyday people. We represent a lot of construction contractors, and they're concerned about their reputation and their financial viability sometimes if you get a certain kind of case. And so most contractors say, I don't know why I got sued. When I was growing up, it was a handshake deal, and if something was wrong, just let me know and I'll fix it. And I don't know why I have to go to court, and things change. So, but overall, I try to stay pretty neutral, and that's one of the reasons why I went into the civil world, because like if I had to defend somebody on death row in a criminal case, I don't think I could do that, because if you make a mistake, they could be executed. So yeah, I went to the lower stakes side of that.
Do you get coached on that, or is that something like on the job training where you just?
No, it's all on the job. I mean, really? There's experiential learning, as they call it, in law school, which I foolishly did not do. But you can get good experience in the clinics. DU has good clinical experience where you can go and work actual cases. But yeah, like it's a pretty stark difference between just the theory of the school and then actually dealing with real life cases and real life people. That makes a big difference, and you just have to get your reps in.
Does that affect you, like your home life, as far as like you just so objective all the time? It's like non-emotional. And
yeah, I try to keep those separate, but
that's hard. Yeah,
it is hard. I mean, you go to law school, you become a lawyer. Everyone says, "Well, it changes the way you think," and it really does. I mean, you try to keep emotions out as much as possible, and then that's usually not the best thing to do at home. But I'm pretty good at keeping them separate, I think. And being objective is is beneficial, sometimes in your private life too. So
Yeah. Where you're like, prove it.
yeah, it's like, where's your evidence?
Yeah.
Where's your evidence that I didn't do the dishes?
Where's your evidence?
Like all the dirty dishes in the sink, Exhibit A.
But there's still plenty in the cupboard.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I could have done those. So yeah, I mean, you get a lot of this. Isn't lawyer time. We're not in court. Shut up.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. Well.
So then do you change or you just keep it going?
No, then you just do what the wife says, and then you're in good shape after that. You don't want to use your argumentative skills too much at home.
Oh, yeah. Because wife's always right, I would say.
Yeah, happy wife, happy life,
Yeah, man. How long you been married?
It'll be 11 years in June.
Okay.
So, good while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still happy?
Still happy.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
11 years, that's
pretty good chunk of change,
That is. Yeah.
Yeah, I got married, fairly late for most people. I don't know. Nowadays, people are getting married later.
How old were you?
I'm 46, so I was
11,
35 when I got
okay.
married.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Well, back in the day, people were getting married at 15.
Oh, 19.
You were not. Yeah, you were young.
Yeah. 26 years.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You guys are gonna set the record. I don't know what the longest marriage ever was.
I don't think so. I think people were getting married at like 16, 17.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess back in the day. I don't know.
Child brides.
Yeah.
You want to stay away from that.
Yeah.
First, that's no
That
good.
is, yeah.
Nothing
it's
good comes from that.
I mean, yeah, God willing, we're still alive and still like each other. I mean,
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. So
When's the last kid gonna leave the home?
I don't know.
You
That's a
have a
good
young
question,
one, right?
man. Yeah, we have a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What's-
we've been parenting for 25 years.
Have you figured it out yet, or
No.
No. Still a mystery.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't go that route.
No.
I couldn't do it.
No. Well, I mean,
I can barely take care of myself, so I
No
should not be
kiddos?
put in charge.
no kiddos?
No kids.
No?
I'm a good uncle, I think.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
Ask my nieces and nephew, but that I have to be able to leave after 2 hours max. It's just like I can't. When you're having the breakdown, or you're hungry, or you need something, I'm just like.
Did you grow up around kids?
No, we had a pretty small family. It was just me and my sister, and then I didn't have like I had a few cousins here and there, but I didn't have like a big 30-person family gatherings all the time.
Like our family.
Yeah,
so
if you have a lot of
Mexican family,
big
it's like
extended family. Yeah,
cousins for days.
Yeah,
and years.
right. You don't even know some of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't have that, so it was it just never was part of me, I guess.
Did you want a big family?
No, I think it would have its advantages. It would be fun.
Yeah.
I think, but that was never like something I really sought out or desired. But yeah, I like visiting big families.
Yeah.
Stay on the outside of it.
Well, you could come over. Enjoy my family.
I'll live vicariously
Uncle
through you.
Steve.
Uncle Steve. Everyone's
Yeah.
an uncle. Tio, whatever. Yeah.
We'll adopt you.
Well, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what made you say yes to coming on? What?
Well, like I said, podcasts are getting big, and I always wanted to just see what it was like.
What is it like?
It's
on that side.
It's fun, just it's like a job interview, but you can be honest. It's like I don't have to make up fake answers to seem impressive.
Yeah. We're not hiring.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, I would be terrible at real estate, so I'd be like, "You want to buy it? I don't care. Whatever. Drive yourself. I don't want to pick you up."
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I mean it because being on a job interview is kind of nerve wracking, but it's kind of therapeutic. Just get on and.
What was it like working for a judge? Like, what was that interview like?
That was kind of nerve wracking because you kind of, especially in law school, you put these judges up on this pedestal and you think they're just like,
Well,
'cause
Your
they
Honor.
are literally
Your
on a
Honor.
pedestal. Yeah,
Come
Your
on, I
Honor.
mean, that's built in.
They wear the black robe, but you learn they're just people.
Really?
And
Are they people?
They are people, and they make mistakes, and some are brilliant, some are not brilliant. But
Okay.
so it really humanizes them, and so when you go into court, it's more of a conversation, discussion like we're having instead of a formal presentation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of the older judges it was like that, but kind of nowadays it's a little more interpersonal. So
How long did you work for a judge?
I worked for a year, usually clerk for about a year, and then
Oh, that's a requirement?
well, it's not a requirement, but you can. There's a couple options when you get out of law school. One of them is go clerk for a judge. So usually the terms are a year or two.
You just check the box? I mean,
No, it's just you get a lot of learning. I mean, the pay is terrible, but you learn a lot. Because like I said, you don't get a lot of courtroom experience. I sat through and participated in probably 15 trials, which is more than I've had in 15 years. So
Yeah.
in just that year that I was clerking, and so I wouldn't have known how to try a case if I didn't clerk.
Wow.
So yeah, the learning experience was great.
Have you tried how many cases have you tried?
I've tried about 5 cases.
Oh, okay.
We don't go to trial that often because things settle most of the time. It's a business decision.
Okay. Yeah.
So
You don't know what's going to happen at trial, right?
no, it's very it's a crapshoot. I mean, it's completely unpredictable. It depends. In a jury trial, it depends completely on those 6 people or 7 people or however many you got in the box. And they come from all different walks of life, and they can make decisions on all kinds of bases, and you don't know what those are. You spend years of your life learning about the law, and you have to explain to these people off the street, all this complicated stuff in, a few days. And so you never know what it's going to come down to. So that's a big motivator to settle for companies and people. So,
Is there anything about the law that you would change? Is that a loaded question?
No, it kind of dovetails into what I was saying a second ago. Is the jury trial? It seems unfair to just leave that all in the hands of people that haven't learned anything about the law. And so there's some countries where the jury is a mix of kind of normal people off the street plus judges and lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
But like Italy, I believe, is one of those countries, and they ended up. I mean, you probably heard of Amanda Knox, that girl that was convicted of murder, and then she was acquitted, and then it went back and forth.
Right.
So that was in Italy, where you had supposedly professionals on the jury, and they screwed that up a few times. So there's no real great way to do it. I understand trial by jury and why it's important, because especially in criminal cases, because you have the government trying to take away your liberty. And if they can't prove it to, in a criminal case, be 12 people, then they can't put you in prison, So it's kind of the best we got, but, sometimes you think there's going to be better ways to do it.
Dang. So, I didn't really think about, like, all the different laws all over the world. I mean.
Yeah,
so,
that's great. Have you been on a jury?
I was on a grand jury.
Oh, really? How was that?
It was okay.
That's a little bit different.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Most people think that you're, saying was it guilty or not guilty, but it's not. It's different.
Indict or don't indict.
All you do is you hear about all the bad stuff that's happening in your community.
Totally one-sided. Right?
Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, there's drug dealers right down the street, or there's a neighborhood that has, some crime going on that you don't really want to know about.
Yeah.
I mean, you just come home and you're just like,
you just
come
feel
here.
bad.
Yeah, your kids, you just want to hug your kids.
Don't go outside.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, ooh, maybe I didn't, and that's a full year. A year commitment.
Really?
Yeah.
So do you have to go multiple times?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
At least once a month.
How'd you get stuck with that?
I thought I'd like it.
Did you have to volunteer for that?
Well,
or did they pick you for it?
everybody else was declining, and I kind of felt bad. I was like,
you're a good community man.
I was like, never been on a jury. Grand jury sounds grand.
Sounds grander.
So
exactly.
I'm like, well, maybe I'll give this a shot. And then it's like
a year, a full year.
And I try to get. They're like, how much do you make a day? And I'm like, I try to get $1,000 a day. They're like,
what
sir,
they tell you?
No, we're gonna go ahead and pay you $50.
Sound good? Well, your powers of negotiation should have helped you, right?
It didn't.
It did not.
I had zero leverage. They're like, actually, you're gonna do this, and you're gonna, yeah,
$50.
Yeah,
well,
but
it's better than nothing, I guess, right?
Yeah. So, have you ever been on a jury?
I've never been on a jury. I got into the box one time. And this was after I was a lawyer, and so lawyers have different opinions on whether to have whether to have other lawyers on the jury. And it was a criminal case. It was pretty small, and a kid had been arrested for allegedly driving while he was high. And so I got kicked off before they went to the final pick, but it was interesting.
I would think it'd be a requirement to be on a jury if you're going to be at least have any kind of experience in a trial.
Yeah, I think it should be. I mean, obviously, it's up to the lawyers to pick the jury. They don't have to pick anybody, but it'd be very helpful for any lawyer to be on a jury. And that's why clerking was valuable, because every jury trial we had, my judge would go back into the jury room after the verdict, and she would kind of debrief with the jury, and I got to stand in there and listen, and hear kind of what the jury's thought process was, and a lot of it was pretty illuminating. I mean, if somebody had a really bad lawyer, and they would say, well, we didn't want to hold it against that person that their lawyer was so bad, so we kind of were rooting for that person.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd think it would be, well, that lawyer was garbage, so I'm going to hold against that person, or rule against, or find against that person. And it's, sometimes it's the opposite way, and
there's that human element.
Yeah,
that
there's
you just
this human
don't know.
element,
Yep.
And then you hear stuff like, I didn't like his shoes, or his watch was too fancy, or I mean, you hear
Okay.
It's like, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, another interesting story, because I was a clerk in Boulder, and I guess Boulder is one of the, as you know, it's one of the most educated places in the country, and you got a lot of academics there. And I guess the year before I got there, my judge was in the criminal rotation, and she had a criminal theft case. And one of the elements that the prosecution has to prove in a theft case is that the accused defendant had to have the intent to permanently deprive the victim of property. And I guess one of the jurors was a philosophy professor at CU, and he managed to convince the rest of the jurors that nothing in this world is actually permanent, and so that element was impossible to prove.
Oh.
And so the guy got off, because there's no such thing as permanency. Which I think you probably only see that in Boulder and a few other places in the country.
They're like, that's enlightening.
Yeah. We'll go with that. Plus, it's Friday afternoon. We want to get out of here.
And his intention was to borrow it. He could have brought it back at some point.
He might have. Might have changed his mind.
Yeah.
You never know. Which I don't think is the intent of the law,
right.
Obviously. But, it's a different take. So, yeah, you never know what you're going to get in a jury.
Yeah. So what's the deal with attorneys not representing themselves?
Yeah, the saying goes, only an attorney, or an attorney who represents himself as a fool for a client is the saying.
Okay.
And so you're not supposed to represent yourself, because it's really hard to see something objectively, if you're emotionally and personally involved in it. And so that doesn't stop attorneys from representing themselves.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, people do. I mean, again, another clerking story was a CU law professor was representing himself in his own divorce. And he was a constitutional law professor, and so he got up there and made these great constitutional arguments. But the Constitution doesn't have anything to do with divorce law. And so my judge was like, well, thank you very much for that very educational lesson, but no, you're not getting the kids full-time. Sorry, buddy. So,
man.
yeah, I mean, you really...
just outsmart yourself.
Yeah. And then you start making decisions based on anger or vendetta or, and it just it doesn't go well. So.
Yeah. Do you deal with a lot of egos in your space?
Oh, my God, yeah.
How do you deal with that?
You just got to learn how to not react to anything personally because there's so many inflated egos, and it draws that kind of person, egomaniacs. Because you kind of have to be confident, obviously, but there's a fine line between being self-assured and then being a complete nut job, thinking you're invincible.
Well, I know you. I mean, it's hard. Go to law school. You got to pass the bar. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing. Yeah.
So naturally, I think you have this confidence, and you're like, I'm kind of the shit. Yeah. That's so. Yeah,
and you have to get away from believing that just because the other side says something with the utmost confidence doesn't mean that they're right. Like. Because your natural instinct is to say, well, I wouldn't say something that definitively unless I knew absolutely that I was right. But that's how a normal person thinks. You have to think like a lawyer and be like, well, no, he's bluffing. It's like it's poker. It's poker, basically.
Yeah.
So you have to say, well, I think they're coming on a little too strong. I don't think they actually believe in their case that much because of how strong they're coming on. So I don't know. It's kind of it's kind of a chess game, a little bit, poker game, whatever kind of analogy you want to use.
Would you represent yourself?
No. I would not represent myself. I mean, unless it was, a Peanuts case. But if I were really in trouble, I would be like, I need some help here.
Yeah.
I would definitely enlist outside help.
What is the lawyer community like?
It's a small community here in Colorado.
Okay.
And so that point is kind of emphasized even when you're in law school to say, hey, don't screw anybody over because it can come back on you pretty quick. And then there's sub-communities within the overall community. Like, I'm in insurance defense, and pretty much everybody knows everybody else in the community. So yeah, I mean, what goes around comes around. So it kind of encourages you to be, civil to other people. As
there's a certain level of cooperation there.
Yeah. And that's kind of the goal, is to be professional, be cooperative, even though you're adversaries. And there's outliers, obviously. There's people that just try to move fast and break stuff, as the tech bros say. But yeah, overall, I mean, Colorado's a very collegial group of lawyers. I've had some cases with California lawyers, and they just generally are. Yeah, I mean, that's just the way they do it out there. Is they're
super aggressive.
They're super aggressive. Kind of condescending, arrogant,
win at all costs. Kind of deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Colorado's not like that. Wyoming's definitely not like that. Wyoming, they say "go to the west." So it's like kind of old school cowboy law.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm not an old school cowboy at all. But I do appreciate the overall attitude of the lawyers up there. So.
Have you ever fired a client?
I personally have never fired a client. There's clients I would like to fire. But yeah, I mean, if you looked on LinkedIn, all the lawyers, their advice is, fire bad clients, sooner rather than later. Ones that
just don't hire them in the first place.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't know.
Yeah.
But it's the ones that constantly complain about the charges, or try to call you at all hours, and it's mainly about complaining about the value of the service. And if they don't want to pay for the value, that's you gotta cut them loose.
Yeah,
is really the prevailing advice nowadays. So
yeah, I think I've only fired one client, maybe two clients. You fired one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Your young career, so you're off to a great start.
Good start. You don't want to do that too often.
You're
I don't
right.
think, but
Yeah, it's like...
at a certain level, yeah, you don't want to. You don't want to make that a habit. I don't think. So you got to put food on the table.
Well, it's a very difficult decision. I mean, it's not like you just go off firing clients. It's just sometimes it's just unrealistic expectations.
Well, right. Sometimes they push you a little far. We've had clients like that where they wanted great work for free, and that's not how the world works, unfortunately. So.
Well, I had to fire one because they treated my whole team horribly.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, all right, cut them loose.
Not worth it.
No,
And,
you're not going to call and yell at my staff. Every day.
Yeah, you got to set the tone as the boss. And,
yeah, I did.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I just.
Listen here.
Yeah, I'm
buddy.
like, listen to this. Listen to me fire a client.
Was it gratifying when you fired the guy? Or
actually,
girl,
I was like, regretted it. No, I just texted.
Man, that was a lot of money.
Yeah. It's like, ooh, can we make payroll?
Yeah. Jeez. Nathaniel, go out
Sorry,
there and
bud.
make a buck.
Yeah, I'm not going to eat this week. So, what do you think your number one skill is?
My number one skill. I think I'm pretty good at analyzing problems and finding solutions.
Give an example. You're on an interview. We are hiring.
Nice. It's mostly with legal problems. I think I find good loopholes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so I've had some pretty decent arguments prevail that maybe I thought, I don't know if anyone's going to buy that, but I think I make some pretty good creative legal arguments. That's in my...
That feels good.
Yeah, it does.
That's a good skill.
Yeah, and then just I think I'm a pretty personable guy. I think I disarm people pretty well. I think I can get people to speak freely and not feel like they have to be guarded around me. And
do they ever come in and they're like, I didn't picture you like this, like likable, personable, because that's not what I picture lawyers to be.
Yeah, I had one guy. He came in, and I walked in, and I just had kind of a regular shirt and khakis on or something.
Oh.
And he said, "Oh, I thought you'd be in some $5,000 suit, and I was gonna fire you if you were wearing that." I'm like, dude, my whole wardrobe doesn't cost $5,000. And so I think he had watched Suits too many times.
Oh, yeah,
too,
yeah,
but
sure.
he was kind of a rural guy, did construction, and he was missing some fingers too.
Yeah.
Coincidentally.
It's a rough industry.
Well, yeah, you're not coming out with all 10, that's for sure. But I mean, I don't know what everyone has the view, the slick lawyer, like Suits, but I get that a lot because I don't. That's really not my style. So I try to be approachable.
You still got season tickets?
I do. I've held on through the lean years.
Yes.
The first year I inherited them was Tebow's year, and then Manning came, and that was great.
Days.
That was great.
Yeah.
And then it's been lean since 15, and so it looks like we're on the way back up.
We are.
Yeah.
Are you a Knicks fan? As in
Bo
N-I-X?
Nix? Yeah. I like Bo Nix. I mean, it's hard to evaluate college players because the game is so different, especially quarterbacks. And so, I saw him at Auburn, and then saw him at Oregon a little bit, and I was like, I don't know if he can pass in the NFL. And he proved me wrong. I mean, he can sling it.
He can.
So I have the same kind of opinion of Shador. I'm like, I don't know if he can hack it in the NFL, and he'll probably prove me wrong too because he's a good kid and he's got a good arm. And
where do you think Hunter's going to land?
I don't know. He's a tough call because it seems like he just kind of, at least on offense, he just kind of went out there and was the best athlete on the field.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if he can run like a route tree or anything. And corner, I think he can shut guys down. I think he's going to go top 5, I think. But,
they're talking number 1.
Yeah, he may go number 1.
Yeah.
But, the NFL is so quarterback dependent now that if you had to pick that high and you needed a quarterback and you didn't take one, you know, it ended up biting you. Like when the Broncos passed on Josh Allen for Chubb.
Don't talk about that.
That's bad.
Still
memory.
too soon. Yeah, still too soon.
Well,
he just signed a big contract.
Yeah, he did. And stay in Buffalo, and you know, he took a little bit less, I think, for the good of the team. So he's gonna be a folk hero.
Yeah.
Up north for a while now. Which, you know, the guy catches all the breaks. Yeah, they waxed the Broncos pretty good in the first round, but
maybe this is their year.
Maybe this is their year. The Chiefs are down.
Yeah. Oh, thank goodness.
They got smoked.
Oh, I love that Super Bowl.
That
Are you a
was
Chiefs
great.
fan?
No.
Oh, I was going to say.
I hate the
Yeah,
Chiefs.
that'd be the end of the show.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I bought an Eagles t-shirt just for the Super Bowl.
Oh, nice.
Because I could not see the Chiefs. The Chiefs and Taylor Swift. I could not handle that all in the same, package. It's going to be terrible.
I like the Eagles now, but I didn't like the Eagles as a kid. Is like Randall Cunningham. Yeah.
I liked Reggie White. I thought he was awesome.
Yeah.
The Minister of Defense.
Minister. That's right. He was an ordained minister.
Yeah, he was. So the name was appropriate.
Yep. Until he went to the Packers and then he played us in the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We beat him though. So it's a good victory.
I remember that day. I cried.
You cried?
I did.
It was a long time coming.
It was.
I mean, going through the 80s was it was rough, dude.
You don't understand.
Yeah.
You just don't understand.
You had to be there, man.
Yeah.
We were so close, and then you just get blown out in the last game.
4 times? Yeah. 3 times, 4 times? I mean.
Yeah, well, 3 times we were alive. 77, they got beat pretty bad, too. But that was right before we were born. So.
Yeah. Man.
It's tough. It's tough being a Broncos fan, but, they've won, 3 now. So we're in kind of the upper echelon of NFL fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're not the Patriots, but their time is over.
Done.
They're done.
Stephon
Diggs is going to ruin that team. I hope he does.
Who's their quarterback?
Cancer. Drake May.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to happen.
He's a bum.
Yeah.
He's no Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's their coach?
Mike Vrabel now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They'll blast from the past.
Gerard Mayo lasted only 1 year.
Okay.
And they kicked him to the curb. I think he was sacrificial lamb, unfortunately. But Vrabes, he knows what's up.
What about Aaron Rodgers?
I don't know.
Are you a fan?
I was. He turned really weird.
Yeah.
And then anyone who's estranged from their family, I'm kind of like, well, maybe they have their reasons, but that is kind of weird.
It is a red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a little, tell me more.
Yeah.
I need to know more.
And then he went on all these conspiracy theories, which may be true. I don't know. But I don't think they are.
No.
We don't want to start that rumor here. We might get sued. Don't sue us.
Yeah, I pictured this as a podcast of just sitting in silence.
Yeah.
Because we just couldn't say anything.
I mean, does the
like we're
LLC
recording.
run this podcast, or is this you personally? Not me. They want some insulation from liability.
Yeah, exactly.
Counselor.
Should have just put a mask on you and then like a mustache and sunglasses or something. Yeah. Well, you already have the facial hair.
Well, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Growing it
Did
out.
it take you a while to grow this?
Yeah, this started on COVID, and
Took you 5 years?
No. I mean, I've shaved intermittently. I started growing a beard for the first time over COVID because I didn't think I could grow one.
Oh, okay.
Were
you pleasantly surprised?
I was pleasantly surprised how it came in, and so I kind of, because before you would shave every day, clean shave, and go to the office, and I thought the intermediary stage would look stupid if I had to go to an office, but when you didn't have to go to the office, you just look like a scumbag.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it filled in nice, so I kept it.
Does the wife like it?
She likes it.
Yeah.
Other people at the office think I look like a, homeless, shady dude.
Well, that's the big thing in the refereeing community is that you need to be clean shaven in order to
look like
get
a
the
vagrant.
good playoff
Oh,
games,
okay.
so.
So are you flouting the
Yeah, I was like,
general-
hey, it's either I'm good and I deserve to be there.
Yeah.
With the beard.
all on merit,
Oh yeah, exactly.
right?
So,
I'm trying to think of.
I got one playoff game. It's not working.
I'm trying to think of the NCAA refs and if any of them have beards.
No, they're all clean.
They're all clean shaven. Yeah, that's kind of true.
Yeah. Would you take offense as like just a fan?
No.
No.
Well, that's your built-in excuse. You know, you can be like, "Hey,
What do the
keeping my
fans
beard."
think?
Yeah, the fans don't care.
They pay the money to be there.
Yeah,
Give them what they want. They want beards.
give them the beard.
Yeah.
Well, you keep yours tight. It looks good.
Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah,
man. Yeah. It's hard.
I would try. Yeah, somebody told me, juries will trust someone less if they have a beard. I don't know why that. I don't know why that is. I mean, Abe Lincoln is like the most trustworthy guy, and he had a beard. So that logic doesn't hold up. I don't think. But
That is true. Honest Abe.
Honest Abe. It's in his name.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Maybe he was clean shaven at the time. Because
he looked weird, clean shaven.
Oh,
I like beard Abe better than clean shaven Abe.
So I'm working on that. I mean, it's 50-50. My wife likes it. My mom hates it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
She likes the baby.
you see who's winning.
Yeah, right.
In our
yeah,
relationship.
The wife, yeah, always. Happy wife, happy life. Like I
So
said.
my mom, she's like, shave that thing. So every time I see her.
Yeah.
So I just stopped coming around.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just stop. Just quit talking to your mom. Yeah. Easy decision. Yeah.
Well, as we wrap up, what's on tap for you the next five years or so?
Just trying to stay alive, man.
Just try to stay away
out of
from the
way of
light rails.
trains. Yeah, exactly. No, I hope to keep growing our business. I hope to keep our heads above water. I feel like we're kind of treading water now, but we're at a transition period. We got some people retiring, kind of handing over the reins, and so
Is that scary?
it is scary because these guys have been doing it for a long time. They're really good at what they do, and so I'm just trying to give them that off ramp and take over myself, and you're taking live fire, and it's a little nerve wracking, but that's what alcohol's for, and so I'm gonna make it through. I think
So is that like a security blanket? You just kind of like you lose, and you're just like, ooh, this doesn't feel very good.
Yeah. It is. I mean,
is there like mentors that you could go to, or how does that work?
Yeah, there's good mentorship in the law. In our
Like a hotline?
there's an ethics hotline.
Okay,
if you're like, am I gonna? I won't even say what you call the ethics hotline. I know some people probably should call the ethics hotline. But yeah, in terms of mentorship, we got guys, who are retired or semi-retired, and they're always willing to lend an ear and give you advice. But really, the only way you learn is to do it and make mistakes and keep trucking on. So.
Well, I'm available if you guys need any consultation.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we may. I don't know. We may want to sell our building at some point. So.
Oh, do you own your building?
Well, a couple guys do.
Okay.
They may want to sell it to the firm. The firm may want to sell. I don't know. So we'll keep you in mind.
Yeah.
Give me a card later.
Well, that's good. Do you guys like focus on wealth building through real estate, or how does that work?
No, we do purely litigation stuff. So
okay.
I need all the help I can get in terms of wealth building or pretty much anything else in life. if you get in a car crash, I can help you out, or if somebody slips on your property and you get sued. But my skills are very limited in that regard. Or if you eat bad food at a restaurant and shit your pants, I can help you there too.
Really specialized.
Otherwise, I'll send you someplace else.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. Well, we'll wrap it up with that.
Yeah, that flew by, man. I appreciate you having me on. Thanks for the invite. And if I do something remarkable, you can have me back on, or we can talk about Top Gun 3 or whatever. So.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Look forward to it.